Oh, awesome. Jared's coming in. Hello, everyone. Madam Z here. And we are talking to the wonderful Kelly Morgan. And welcome to, hello, everyone, to Cauldron Conversations with Madam Z, where we gather in space. We talk about all things magic, all things witchy, all things occult, all things just macabre, right? Nothing is off topic here. We like to talk about the weird, insane, and just dark kind of stuff. So you guys know who I am. For the people who don't know who I am, I'm Madam Z. I'm a magical life coach, psychic counselor, and the head mistress of Madam Z School of Witchery. I show people how to empower their lives through magic. So everybody knows who I am. Everybody's here. So let's talk to Kelly, our special guest, Kelly Morgan. Hello, let's give everyone a warm hello to Kelly.
Hello.
Hi, let's jump right in, Kelly.
Awesome, beautiful. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about shifting from feeling judged, scared, and ostracized for our psychic gifts into owning our power as powerful priestesses, psychics, and healers online. So we're really going into diving into healing the witch wound today.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. A lot of us have been dealing with healing from the witch wound. I know I have a 5-day Master Your Magic challenge that I'm in the middle of. And so one of the things that are coming up when I talk about this is being seen, healing the witch wound, letting go of things that no longer serve you, of being afraid of being heard and afraid of being seen and speaking your truth, and where that trauma comes from and how that spills over into your everyday muggle life, into your existence. So talk to us a little bit about how you can recognize in your everyday life that there needs to be a witch wound that has to be healed.
Absolutely. So I remember when I first discovered that I had psychic abilities, I kind of thought I was a bit crazy, right? And so I was seeing all these spirits, having these wild experiences, and I felt like a freak or really an outcast. And I didn't have a safe space to share with others what my abilities were, or really I didn't have anyone who deeply understood what was happening to me, right? Mm-hmm. And so some signs that you are currently still struggling within the witch wound and you're not able to fully heal it, mm-hmm. would be you are afraid to share that you're a psychic online. You haven't told your friends and your family. You don't radically claim that you're a psychic, even if you're not doing it professionally and haven't fully stepped into that role yet. You're currently still struggling to fully share and own your gifts, and you are kind of fearing rejection, thinking, what are people going to think about me, and really just kind of, you have this hiding kind of energy about when you think about your gifts. It's not like you're freely expressing with the world your beautiful, powerful, psychic, shamanic, and witchy gifts.
Yeah, I agree with that. A couple of the people in here are my students from my psychic course. I did a 6-month psychic course, and we talked about coming out of the spiritual closet, right? And working in your gifts, and how a lot of people just kind of don't want to come out and say that, hey, I'm a psychic, or I have spiritual gifts, or I see dead people or speak to dead people, right? Because, we still live in a muggle world, and people are still ostracized and talked about, really weird. If they come out and say, hey, your dead grandmother is hanging out on your left side, they're going to look at you all kind of crazy, right? So how do you deal with people like that? What is your number one tip that you would give people who are just starting to come out of that and starting to just really work with their spiritual gifts?
So I think the first step is recognizing that, no, you're not crazy, right? And so it's shifting from this realm of I'm seeing spirits and perceiving inaccurate information into verifying that your gifts are powerful, that they're real, that they're valid, and that the gifts that you have, it doesn't mean like you're crazy, like I've said, it means that you have these powerful spiritual gifts that are meant to be shared with the world. So first, it's owning that you have these gifts for yourself. And once you can stand in that and realize that I have these gifts and I'm not crazy, I'm not just making shit up in my head, right? Then you can really begin to step into telling a safe or trusted family member or friend about your psychic and shamanic experiences, I would recommend getting in touch with people in Facebook groups like the beautiful Madam Z's Facebook group, the Witchy Wisdom School, I believe it's called, and my Facebook group, Shamanic Mentorship and Sacred Business for Healers and Coaches. Because within these different communities, we can begin to see that other people are having the same experiences as us, that we're not in fact crazy, and we do have these really powerful gifts that are meant to be shared. And I think from there, once you've recognized the validity in your own gifts and you're receiving consistently accurate information, or healing, wisdom, beautiful fruits, the beautiful fruits of your gifts, then it's time to share them powerfully with the world, right? And so whatever that looks like for you is beautiful and divine and sacred. Everyone has their own path. But if you're feeling called to take this professionally, then I recommend you get mentorship around how to start your own business, mentorship around how to really develop your gifts and abilities so that you can become a really powerful professional who's here to share their sacred gifts with the world and help more people heal.
Yes. I think that you touched on a very important thing. Well, a couple of very important things I want to talk about. Both of us have wonderful groups. Mine is Witchy School of Wisdom. And I always have Madam Z School of Witchery. You can find courses, do-it-yourself courses, and then I have an online coven or an academy where we talk about this stuff. So I want to touch a little bit about how important it is that you, as someone who's starting out, or even if you're not starting out, right? If you're a little bit seasoned, if you just want to hang out with a sacred space and a space that we provide for you to work on your gifts, to be supported, to not be judged, and to really have a safe place where you can talk about your spiritual gifts and practice. I think once or twice a month, I have like a thread where like, okay, this is your practice thread. Connect with some other people, pull some cards, use your gifts, use your divination tools. And it's about like a psychic circle where you start practicing your gifts. And so it's important that you find a mentor that you talked about, you find a group, and both of us have really good groups that you can find your tribe or your people in, and start practicing. We provide that for you. I know that Kelly has a great group. I have a great group. There's no judgment at all where you are in your practice or in your spiritual gifts. Now, by a show of hands, you can raise your hand, or if you guys are off camera, you have that little reaction button at the bottom. So raise your hands if you have any spiritual gifts that you would like to work on, or you would like to hone in on. We're going to give people time. I know, me too. Me too. Some people at work. So, yeah.
Why don't you leave them in the comments what spiritual gifts you're looking at developing more? And I think it's helpful, you know, it's a continual learning journey in the shamanic and in the witch path, the psychic and witch path, to continue to develop your gifts. So I'd like to share what gifts I'm continuing to develop right now. And I'd love, Madam Z, if you'd like to share the gifts you're continuing to develop as well. And we could read the comment section. Does that sound good to you?
Yes, sounds good to me. Yeah, because a lot of us are watching, a lot of the people are probably watching the replay, or they're at work, or they have kids and they can't be on camera or speak. Always drop in the comments and we will always read the comments, and we'll have an open discussion. This is what me and Kelly like to do. We want to create community around this, and we want you guys to ask us questions about your spirituality, about, you know, channeling, your spiritual gifts, your psychic gifts, your witch gifts, your healing gifts. So we want to have an open forum and a question and answer. So please feel free to participate in the discussion and the conversation.
Beautiful. So, so the gifts that I'm currently working on developing more are healing the body on a physical level with my shamanic gifts. I have a lot of training on how to perform soul retrieval, depossession work, exorcisms, you know, all this other kind of work. But really, I would love to be able to, for example, heal people on a physical level with my shamanic healing abilities. I've been able to create and customize advice plans for people to, for example, like reverse cancer, cure chronic illnesses, etc. But those often require lifestyle shifts based on the advice in conjunction with the shamanic healing. I would love if I could just perform some more of that miraculous healing on the body on a physical level.
I
So
love
that's
that.
a personal goal of mine. So I need to go train with some curanderas, some Peruvian shamans, and really learn that skill more masterfully. So that's one area I would like to work on. How about you, Madam?
Well, I've always been fascinated with the medical intuitive, right? Or psychic surgery kind of thing, right? I think a lot of it, our mind has a powerful way to heal if we can just tap into that energy and tap into that frequency of healing your body through your mind and energy work. Anytime that you can heal your body without surgically cutting open and is probably the best thing you can do, because you're breaking that energy field, right? You're slicing, you're cutting. And so, you know, my students, when we do cord cutting, what do? You are cutting that energy, you're cutting into that energy field. So anytime that you can do any kind of psychic surgery or healing through energy is always better than, you know, having actual physical surgery. By all means, we're not doctors, we're not physicians, don't come at us. You know, but use your best judgment. So I'm working on, well, I mean, always been into paranormal stuff, and a lot of my students here do that also, and I'm also a demonologist. So, but I want to get in more involved into more psychic stuff and connecting on a deeper and better, well, I wouldn't say better, but a deeper scale of connecting right away with different kind of magical tools. I just bought this magical tool this weekend at the oddities market. And it is really just a pendulum with a crystal. And I put a pendulum mat under here. And then this is a new tool that I'm going to be using for spirit communications and connecting with that instead of using like the K2 meters and all that kind of stuff, right? So I want to start teaching and telling people how to be more psychic in paranormal situations and how to bring the magic and the occult into paranormal and take away the stigma of Ouija boards, right? And however you connect with the spirit is your own special way of connecting to the spirit, right? So I want to pull back the veil of what spirit communication is and what it should look like, because it's not what you see on TV at all. It's different for everybody else. So talk a little bit, Kelly, about what shamanism is. I don't really dive into that. I mean, I know what it is, right? It's more about journeying, but for the people who don't really know what shamanism is, can you touch a little bit on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm an expert shaman teacher. It's really my zone of expertise. I've been teaching shamanism professionally for more than 6 years now. So since our training is around healing the witch wound, I'm going to say the definition of shamanism and then kind of how you can heal the witch wound, maybe with shamanic practices a little bit, just to, you know, stay super on topic. But so essentially what shamanism is, it's where a practitioner enters an altered state of consciousness and connects with the spirit world to receive accurate advice or healing from the other side, and then provides it for the community. So that's essentially what a shaman is. And so sometimes we get a lot of major stigmas when we come out as a shaman, as a witch or a psychic, right? We fear being ostracized, attacked, and judged for sharing online what our gifts are. And so one of the really powerful ways I found to heal that is to actually create posts and marketing where essentially what you're doing is you're freely just sharing what your most powerful gifts are. Like I freely share online how I communicate with animals telepathically, you know, how I, you know, have evidentially predicted the future years in advance, predicted pregnancies, etc. And so when I share that I have these really powerful gifts, what it does is it liberates me from constantly hiding that. And so if you can even just create some posts where you come out and share the power of your work and the power of your gifts, it's going to attract your dream clients, people who are really attracted to your gifts, right? And B, it's also going to not only powerfully magnetize your dream clients, but it's also going to really unleash your voice from always being so scared and in hiding about your spiritual gifts, because you're finally letting out your big fat psychic secret, right?
Yeah, that a lot of us have been, taught by DNA, right, and by fear that we don't really talk about that stuff. We don't tell people that we're psychic because of the stigma that's placed around it. So Danielle said, moonwork, shamanism, interested in the above. So, excuse me. I love how you talked about shamanism. A lot of people don't know about what shamanism is. There's all different kinds of forms of shamanism, all different paths of shamanism. So what about moon work? Do you feel when you're doing psychic stuff, the moon phase affects you when you do more psychic work?
Yeah, so essentially with astrology, what sort of the premise of astrology is, I'm sure you guys probably know, but it's the planets and the different planetary bodies are all energetic, like they have energy. And so the energy affects what's happening to life on Earth. Just like, for example, if you're around a coworker and maybe the coworker too, say you're in an office space and two rows down from you, he's depressed, and you can feel this kind of depressive energy every time you go into work, and you're like, but you don't feel it when you go to the bathroom that's this way. You feel it when you're sitting at your cubicle, which, it's 2 places away from this man who's very depressed, right? And so it's essentially, the principle is that the powerful energy around us, it affects our energy bodies, and we're all kind of flowing in this sort of consciousness web, right? So yes, the moon cycles absolutely affect witchcraft, shamanic work. I'm sure you teach about this, Madam Z, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mostly witch stuff. I don't do so much shaman stuff. So that's where you come in for sure. Yeah. So
yeah, what you can do, for example, for like a moon work practice is you can connect to the spirit of the moon. And so essentially first you want to be able to psychically view or connect with the spirit of the moon, which is essentially learning how to connect to a psychic source. Just like, for example, if you're choosing a spirit to channel from, you want to pick whatever spirit to channel from that's accurate, benevolent, beneficial, and has really positive information to share with you, right? So where most mediums go wrong is they inaccurately identify a spirit and connect to the wrong source. So they're retrieving inaccurate information. That's the problem with most mediums and why they're not evidential. So basically you want to connect to the spirit of the moon. So once you're psychically connected to it, for example, this would be really powerful during a full moon. And so then you can receive direct information from the spirit of the moon about how to transform X area of your life, Y area of your life. It's especially powerful for business manifestation, manifesting money, relationships. It's really beautiful for sex work as well. So those are all wonderful topics to channel from the spirit of the moon.
I love it. Yeah, sex magic is huge. A lot of people don't understand the power of sex magic, right? That's a whole other topic, right?
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, you can manifest so much stuff with working with sex magic. And a lot of my students should know what it's like to, when you do spell work, that we always talk about tags, right? Bodily fluids, a tag log, right? So everybody should know what that is. So if the most powerful thing that we can use in our spell work to connect with our, target our spell is the bodily fluid from sex. And plus it raises the energy through Kundalini work and, all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a whole other topic. So Annalise said, part of the stigma is to literally send you to a mental ward. If you confirm you're seeing and hearing things, you are deemed as crazy, especially when you incorporate it with the period sex. Well, that's a separate thing, but yeah. Period sex and working with your menstrual cycle is, sorry, Jared, we're talking stuff. Jared's our token male witch in here. Jared's like, no, I don't want to hear about all this stuff. But so yeah, it's interesting that you talked about that, Annalay, how crazy it is, because I just moved to Kansas City, a small town outside of Kansas City. And they have an amazing psychiatric museum. It's called the Glore Museum. And it's one of the most famous, weird kind of museums you can go in there. And it's housed in the old asylum where, you know, where people would come in and actually have the surgeries and stuff. So you can walk through the entire museum, and they, you can do haunted retreats and paranormal stuff too, which is another way that you can connect with people, is going through hospitals, psychiatric centers, all that kind of stuff, right? But in the hospital, that's this museum, they have all these torture devices on women, and they have copies of intake forms on what people or women would be admitted for. And a lot of it was just because they were acting out, they were voicing their opinions, they were slacking on their house duties, they're not, you know, conforming to what they're supposed to be doing, they're, you know, not attending to the children, they're not doing their wifely duties, that kind of stuff. So that's part of the witch wound that we want to heal, because we were so afraid that we, you know, in those times, we had no power, we had no voice, we were at the mercy of our husbands. And if the husband wanted to get rid of us because he wanted to be with his mistress or whatever, he would just make up this stuff, and you would be admitted into the asylum, no questions asked, and you would sit there and you would die and rot. So that's part of the witch wound that we need to heal, because it's our power, especially our healing powers and our powers to speak the truth, have really just been stifled because of what happens when we speak our truth. Oh, yeah, Kelly was like, thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah, it's near and dear to my heart, especially now what's going on. So if you can go to any kind of psychic museum or, you know, something like that, and just really connect with the energy of the people that were there, that's another really good way to practice your psychic intuition, your psychic development. Another thing that I do with my students, and when I'm working with psychic development and psychic gifts, is I will take them on a field trip to an antique store or to the graveyard or to, you know, whatever. And we'll like, all right, feel the object, see where you're at, what do you get from the object? So this is about working and owning your gifts, right? And there is no, here's the thing that, and Kelly, tell me if this is what you come across too with your students, is a lot of them are afraid to say what they feel or what's coming to them, because they're afraid they're wrong. And so they just won't say anything. So if you're going through an investigation or you're having a paranormal circle, mediumship practice, and then you know, some of my students will get some things that come through and they won't say anything, but when I tell them the backstory, they're like, oh man, I should have said that. That's what came through. And I'm like, yes, don't second guess yourself, right? A lot of us really just are afraid to speak what comes up because we're afraid we're going to be wrong.
Which is totally understandable in the beginning, because when I was first starting out, I would say I was like 50% accurate, 50% not. So yeah. Like at that point, obviously it wasn't, you know, in my initial awakening in those first few months, it wasn't valid for me to like give someone a psychic reading, because it could be right, it could be not, right? And so really, I feel like the key there is developing a system where you're getting consistently evidential, giving consistently evidential readings, whether that's mediumship or, you know, just psychic readings, so that you feel confident in your abilities, is having that foundational skill set, and trusting yourself in the process and not being so hard on yourself as you are developing.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. And practice, 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 right? Practice. Jared said, been working on using music and hearing messages in those to help develop my clairaudience. Yep. Music, tunes on the radio, not psychic, but it's called bibliomancy, I think, or I'm not sure what the name of that is. But yeah, work on your psychic skills and develop in any way you can. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but you have to have a circle, or you have to have a group where you can practice and connect and throw these ideas around. And so any other questions for us while we're here?
I would just like to add that as you are getting the courage to show up as a psychic, as a shaman, as a witch online, I really do feel that it's so important to get courageous and get brave. And even if you're shaking as you hit that first post button on your new psychic Instagram account, or sharing your gifts for the first time on your Facebook profile where your family and friends are going to see it or whatever. It's like, let go of all the fear, put that shit to the side. And remember that you're not doing this for yourself, but you're doing it in service, right? And in that service, in service of really wanting to support more people, you yourself are liberated. Your voice is unleashed and really activated through that process. So you are going through a self-healing process. And you're allowing other witches, psychics, and shamans to step up and come forth and share their witchy abilities by you being part of the collective group that takes a stand. I honor you for being courageous in that. And sometimes you just gotta hit post, right?
Correct. You just gotta do it as imperfectly as it is. You have to do it, right? So just by a show of hands or comment in the comment section, who here, sorry, English, right? Who here would love to start their own psychic business or offer services to the public?
Woohoo, we got Jen. Who else? Awesome, awesome. Danielle, beautiful.
Danielle. Awesome. Yay. See, a lot of people need the business coaching as well as the healing coaches and how to do that. So connect with both of us. I'm going to drop some links as soon as we get done with the recording, so that way you can find us. I do have a freebie for everybody who sends me a message and connects with me and says, hey, I need a freebie. Then I will get you a freebie on psychic development or wherever you're at in your craft. I have years and years and years of training. I've been doing this for a very long time. And Jen said, I really need some help joining a lady in the business very soon. Yes, you need both of our helps. Yep, I'm setting it up. I've been doing business before, way before pre-COVID, right? Before COVID, doing this an online thing. I've been teaching witchcraft for a long time, psychic development for a long time. And Kelly said her Facebook group is Shaman Mentorship and Sacred Business for Healers and Coaches. And my Facebook group is Witchy School of Wisdom, and you can find me at madamz.com. And also I have an online academy where we talk about all of this stuff. And we talk about practices, and then I teach you how to do spell work and manifest and anything witchy, magic, and occult. So I've been doing it for a very, very long time. So Kelly dropped her link in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab my link so you guys on Kelly's end knows the people who need to connect with me in my group.
Beautiful, beautiful, Madam Z. Yeah, and so thank you. It was absolutely a pleasure coming on to your divine podcast today. It's been absolutely a divine pleasure. I love how you are doing such active work in healing the witch wound. I think it's phenomenal. Again, for those of you who are interested in connecting with me, learning more from me, I have a lot of free trainings in my Facebook group called Shamanic Mentorship and Sacred Business for Healers and Coaches. And so if you're ready to scale your sacred business to 6 figures, craft a beautiful high-end offer, and step into the powerful shamanic healer that you know you are, then I'm your gal. I'm a leading shaman teacher and 6-figure strategist. So it's been really lovely connecting with you. And hopefully I'll see you in my Facebook group, Shamanic Mentorship and Sacred Business for Healers and Coaches. Thank you so much, Madam Z. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for hanging out with us and sharing your wisdom, and definitely check her out on her Facebook group, all her links, send her a message, and let's get to healing the world together, and not only the world, but ourselves, so we can heal others. All right, everyone, witch on, and we'll see you in the next Cauldron Conversations. Witch on, everyone.